Sorry if that clap was too much. I got a wild one for you. Gotta run the engine a little bit. So I was just running a thought through my head about a number of things about my relationship standards versus the relationship standards I see of other men. And then I kind of thought about what it felt like trying to find the kind of woman that I wanted in that less superficial way, right? There's the ideal in my head, and then there is and then there is the best I can impress. Right? And so my value system has always put me in a limited category where certain things to get pussy didn't fucking motivate me. Right? It said like, I don't want to go through that to get pussy. Right? That was part of it, right? And the things that I did want to do, I was just really bad at, was my problem, right? So I'm better at those things now. But now I've gone through fucking 15 million transcendental fucking awakenings, and I can't relate to the fucking average chick that I probably could have right now. Because I need somebody who can deal with both my energy and my fucking head. Whom has the deep desire of the best intentions of treating her like a fucking queen. Like obviously that's the sell. That's the sell with the relationship with me. Would you like me to treat you queenly? I suppose every man is doing that in his own way, is the idea. So I'm thinking about some subtext here about Eyes Wide Shut, the movie. Pops into my head because I'm remembering something that I took away from, at the very least, the last time I watched the film and paid attention. Unburdened by what has... we are now unburdened by what has been. I like that, Andrew. Tampon Tim is... Who? I don't get what Tampon Tim is, but I liked the first thing you said, Andrew. Now, in Eyes Wide Shut, the thing that triggers the whole fucking film is this fucking this infidelity of sorts that's running through Tom Cruise's fucking head, driving him fucking nuts, and he can't fucking get over it because it fucking hurts so bad because he's been a goddamn good man. And he knows he's a good man. By society's standards, we're looking at it, good man. He doesn't have some deep, dark, horrible. In fact, he's such a fucking good man. You watched him fucking do his fucking job straight out the fucking Hippocratic Oath and took care of that fucking chick who overdosed. And got her back to par. Right? Holy shitballs is the objective idea here. Holy shitballs, right? So nothing's in question. Everybody else in the universe but him and his family are in question when this film crosses the barrier. Right? And so he gets the fucking tip off that he can get laid at this fucking place because he wants to go fucking cheat on his wife. But when he goes to the fucking place, instead of having the fun and playing along like everyone else, he's fucking talking to the chick in the mask, right? And you know, acting a little bit more personably and being genuinely a kind self behind the mask, who is only wearing the mask because it's the only way he can be here. Right? This is our personas, right? This is a pagan ritual, right? Perhaps a nefarious pagan ritual. But there were nefarious pagans and there were good pagans, because pagans warred with each other for various reasons. Somebody was good, somebody was bad, whether it was an Aesir Vanir thing or it was a Christian pagan thing, a Christian Islamic thing, whatever. The story goes on and on and on. It's all fucking propaganda. It's all fucking weird to each other. We're weird to all sorts of different people. Now that I have my kind of heathenry, there's a fuck ton of things that are really weird about modernity, half of which I was all about as a child. And thank God I'm not all about that anymore, because my peers, who are still all about the things they were as a child, all about it, couldn't drop the bad about it. They're not doing too well. They're stuck in some sort of infantile paralysis. And that's technically what struck Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Why do they call it that as a nervous system disorder that just fucking like screws up some of your motor systems in your limbs or whatever? I think that this condition means something. I think that there might have been something wrong with FDR's head that's associated, and the physical symptom of him not being able to walk is a part of it, but that FDR might have just been a really, really successful version of what Joe Biden is, to be straight up with you, right? So here's my point, right? The childish mind has no idea what it's looking at, and Stanley Kubrick probably didn't have a chance to understand enough of the other side for all of this not to be terrifying, right? Because let's face it, he dies in 1999. I mean, like, he's at the spear tip of the height of the absolute of you have no fucking clue what's going on world, right? The war, if something didn't shatter our psyche like 9/11, monstrosities much worse would have gone on, right? So, no, we're not gonna do that. All right. We're not going to do that. We're going to put you in a day's timeout. You get a whole day to practice silence. You must practice silence because you do not have enough self-control to allow me to weave. You're no different than the people that try to tell me to watch out about driving while I do this shit. You're useless. Useless. Sit back, relax, don't worry about me. Enjoy the show. Maybe you'll learn something, which you will if you like, share, and subscribe, because I just got started in an exciting adventure of talking about the Bach Saga, which is why things like this matter to me, because the fertility cult aspect of the Bach Saga kind of plays right into things. Okay. Because, like, the whole ritual that's participated in, it's just like she walks around and chooses the dude she's gonna fuck. right? She knows he's out of place because she knows what cues the people participating in the ritual are. He's he just thinks he's at a fun time whorehouse situation with some weird rules and whatever frat boy shit. He's a doctor. He would have understood frat boys and their cultish looking little fucking things that he would have heard of whispers on the wind at his level, right? So all of this makes fucking perfect sense to him. He has no idea that none of this is going to make sense to him. That's the horror of Eyes Wide Shut. Because of the possibility of who those masks were, which is also one of the big points made in the billiard room scene, where they even suggest, like, I've heard a theory that the High Wizard, the guy in red, was actually the dude playing with the billiard balls, having to scare the shit out of his uninitiated fucking friend. And, you know, who knows what happened to the fucking piano guy? Who the fuck knows? And she dies. She dies somehow. Right? And so the audience is left to ask, how, you know, what the fuck, right? Did they killed her off? She was a sacrifice, yada, yada, yada. So here's my point, though, right? You know, Tom Cruise was willing to walk through the veil. He was willing to push his way through basically the High Priestess card just to find the satisfaction and the appreciation from a woman that he deserves, that he's been robbed of by his wife when he, you know, like it's like the film doesn't make, like, he seems like, I can't remember if there was any neglect issue per se. I mean, there can always be communication issues, but that's, I don't know. There's a lot of things that guys are afraid to bring up to women folk, even if they're married to them, just because of the way you live your lives in certain respects. Because the only way they were going to be able to do it is that each had their own side of their life, right? He's got his doctor life, and like they make this whole thing for the relationship, right? And this can be about how when you get revealed, like when your world changes and it forces you to be a different person, like what does it take to keep a fucking relationship together, right? And that's why by the end of the movie it ends on, you know, it ends with some good dark humor where they want to fuck, right? Because it's just like they have this conversation, you know, this whole fucking dark night of his soul gets him to finally fucking give his fucking heart to his wife, because that's the thing that she was missing, is that he was going through all the motions, but she wasn't feeling the conveyance of it. It was throwing great doubt. And she didn't know how to talk to him about it, right? She tried, right? So they finally sorted that out, and then they could fucking continue to have a great, healthy relationship. And there's a squirrel with a nut in his mouth. That's hysterical. Anyway, yeah, man, we know. Peanut. Yeah, peanut. Peanut. Anyway, so, you know, a lot of people, when they're going through their cult transformations or whatever, it radically changes certain levels of values that if there's not a certain kind of connection between you two, you can fall to pieces in a way that's going to make her feel unsafe, and um, she's going to not be able to see how um, you're trying to treat her, better, but you're also changing as a person, right? And it's one of those kinds of things, right? Because that is definitely what was going on in my internal world when one of my only like real long-term girlfriends left me, and yeah, and you know what? It all needed to happen. I needed to not stop going to get to here, and she needed a way better man for her needs in her life. And I hope she's happier, because I've been far too single this entire fucking time, because I've changed so fucking dramatically that I didn't have time for the way that I courted women to catch up, right? Because I'm now realizing that I'm not getting, what I want out of the way I had, right? So those are very interesting dynamics. So that's a very interesting way for, a person in my experience to have a relationship to such a film as Eyes Wide Shut, when you're out here exposing them and also exposing yourself, and you have to be and it's hard to explain, right? There's different guys that want to talk about this in different ways, and I think a hell of a lot of them are far too concerned with selling it. I think they're far too concerned with selling it, and I think Alex Jones is consumed with selling it. Alex Jones is a man who's gone through one woman to another, right? And one can almost ask, is this a switch of handlers? Because a lot of people suspected that his original wife was some sort of a handler for a certain group of small-hatted peoples. I don't know about that, because honestly, I was pursuing other important questions at the time, and I left that to whoever asked that question in the public, because Alex Jones isn't in control of anything over here. Let's be for fucking realsies. Although I will say this much, I saw something with Alex recently, and I'll give him props. It looks like I think he might have actually lost more weight than he's ever, he looks like he's somewhere in between level 1 fat Alex Jones and original model 90s thin Alex Jones, right? He looks like he's been actually fucking fixing his nutrients and whatever. So, I hope so. That's good. He needs to stop, I mean, if he wants to be some sort of fucking voice of the nation, we'd like him to fucking represent values well, especially to hold to a lot of values that we liked you for, like the manner in which you were trying to do for peace and whatever. Because, it's one thing to be right or wrong about your fucking theories, but it's quite another thing to be like, what kind of society do I want to live in? So, love-hate relationship with Alex Jones. At the end of the day, he had the goddamn balls to fucking have Mark Passio on, and that he deserves big credit, and I hope he always fucking has that. I hope he never fucking shoots it down and hides from it, right? You know, if he fucking wants to be disassociated, there's always context. There's always context, and you can't let the fucking deep state win the context war, because that's the war they wanted to win, that they may still yet be winning. And I don't trust the next president of the United States for shit. I don't care if you fucking trust him. I think you're an idiot for fucking voting, right? Or you're, it's just, where's the fucking civics, right? Where's the civics at? I think you need to make sure that you've got fucking control of your fucking town. You make sure your fucking town knows what's up, and that your town is functional as a voice that goes up to the fucking state. Start with that. And then, when I know that all that shit is doing nothing more but fucking reducing itself to common sense, then perhaps I will be fucking impressed with the existence of government, because I think everybody should endeavor to prove Mark Passio wrong, which is an impossible endeavor. But because you endeavor for it, the world becomes a better place, because you can't fail on the results being promised. And the results of government being slavery, it's every fucking time. You're just fucking lying to yourself if you don't believe in a little bit of slavery. And I'll even say I believe in a little bit of slavery, because I see how many wanting slaves there are. Why? Because there's always going to be people in the world that at that present moment, they want to only be so skillful and so knowledgeable and want to, enjoy their life. Their soul needs this life cycle, right? They just want, but I don't believe that souls want to be of no use to society. That I don't believe at all. So, but they're failing at something going on way in the deep of their emotions that is having conflict with all sorts of things that would have been put perhaps in their heads from product of their upbringing and the available assumptive knowledges that they had access to find in that time, right? Because either you are going to you're either going to really kind of intellectually get stuff right away, or you're going to be very just interested in just looking it over, getting to know the basic truth, maybe missing the part where it said, this is what we think we know, but we're not saying it's the truth, but this is the best we can say that we think that it is, right? Like some fact of history. So, at any rate, that's the that's the interesting point here, is that I think that Kubrick was telling a very honest story that men can't fucking can't always say about just I'm gonna cheat on you, because you might as well be cheating on me, because you're not fucking showing me the loyalty and the trust and the all the this and the that, because that was an understanding of what our relationship is to be. So you know, because he doesn't just go and start making out with the chick. They're just fucking, you know, he's just kind of like having the back and forth, kind of like knowing that he kind of has to fake it till he makes it, and figuring it's not that serious. So, right, and so and that's all because, you know, like, that's what he's looking for out of his wife, right? It's not the sex that's necessarily the thing at all. I mean, he could have done other ways. But anyway, I am gonna take a breath, get back to work, and I'll see you guys later. I haven't decided yet if I'm gonna go live again tonight. So I'll make a post or something if I want to give a heads up for it. All right, I'll see you later.